Hello, welcome to the Met Office 10-day trend. Certainly for the first half of the next 10 days, the weather remains pretty mixed. There will be some sunshine for all of us, but there will also be heavy showers, slow-moving heavy showers because the winds are light, but they'll be concentrated in certain areas. So some places, some days, won't see those showers and simply have a fine day. The devil will be in the detail. There are signs, though, as we go through next week of something of a change. Certainly looks showery to start with, but signs of things turning drier and warmer later in the week, but quite a bit of uncertainty about how we get there, as we'll see in just a moment. First of all, though, let's take a look at the bigger picture. A lot of showers around over the past few days from this area of low pressure. It was really windy on Tuesday as well. Now that low has filled, and that means the isobars are becoming more spaced out, which means the winds are a little bit lighter on Wednesday. And as we go through the next few days, just notice how the isobars are very well spaced across the country. So from Thursday onwards, the winds are going to be pretty light, and there's no real big areas of low pressure dominating. Why are the weather patterns so slack or flabby, as we like to call them? Well, it's because of what's going on high up in the atmosphere and the jet stream. There's been this dip in the jet stream that generated this rather angry low on Tuesday, but now it's kind of weakening. The jet stream fairly feeble over the next 4 or 5 days. It's always dipping to the south, and so it will generate some showers, but say never anything too significant. There is, however, a stronger arm of the jet stream, you'll notice, up to the northwest and a very deep area of low pressure. More on that in a moment. But for the next 4 or 5 days, as I say, the winds are going to be lighter, a slack flow across the UK. There will be some sunshine by day, and that will, this time of year, generate potential for some heavy showers, but maybe not enough on its own. With light winds generated by the pressure pattern, what we may well see is something called convergence showers. That's where the winds kind of merge together. Light winds being generated by the topography of the land, either the southwest convergence zone or converging across the northeast of Scotland or elsewhere where the mountains perhaps lift up and the sea breeze comes in across parts of Yorkshire. So there'll be zones where we see light winds colliding, forcing the air upwards that generate showers. So pinpointing exactly where we'll see showers over the next 4 or 5 days is going to be tricky, but they'll be slow-moving, heavy, possibly thundery downpours, and because they're slow-moving, well, they could drop a lot of rain in certain parts of the country in a short space of time. So that could cause some disruption. But those areas are likely to be different each day. As I say, pinning down detail is going to be difficult at longer range. And where we don't see the showers, there will be, as I said, plenty of sunshine. So the weather's kind of very hit and miss for the next 4 or 5 days. What happens beyond that, as I said at the start, we could see something of a shift. Still not many isobars across the chart for Monday, but let's take a look at that bigger picture again with a more active jet stream up to the northwest in this area of low pressure. Now this is Monday, but let's rewind the clock and see where this low comes from, because it actually generates from what is currently Storm Elsa, which has been waxing and waning between hurricane and tropical storm strength, approaching Florida during Wednesday, bringing some very wet and windy weather here. Then it tracks northwards and then it interacts with the jet stream. Now, we often talk about the jet stream creating weather patterns at the surface, but when you've got such a powerful system with a lot of energy, a lot of tropical air mixed in, well, it can then influence the position of the jet stream. It's kind of a two-way thing. The atmosphere is a giant fluid after all. So that creates some uncertainty in the pattern. And only a subtle shift in the early part of next week, and this is 5 days, remember, will have potentially quite big impacts on the UK. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. So this one is the UK Met Office forecast from the computer model for Monday into Tuesday, and this one is the European model. This is a snapshot of what's going on high up in the atmosphere, but you can also see the pressure pattern lower down, and the storm system is actually up to the northwest, no longer a hurricane, of course, but situated somewhere between Iceland and Greenland. But the exact position of it and how it interacts with the jet stream will have an impact on our weather. So the Met Office model suggesting that the jet stream is just a little further south and this curve isn't as notable, isn't as amplified as it is in the European model, where the jet stream is much further north and then driving further south. In this scenario, we've got a little bend in the jet stream, and that allows the pressure pattern to remain showery across the UK. In this scenario, that's all shifted just a little bit further eastwards. We call it a more progressive pattern, and that would allow higher pressure to topple in earlier. Now, at the moment, it looks like the European model is a little bit closer to what we're expecting, so we are expecting the showers to continue into the early part of next week. But there are still signs that the high pressure will arrive at some point, and this is shown on this graph. I've shown these before again. The red is high pressure, blue is low pressure, and the greeny colours are where we're kind of in between. You can see that zone here, the latest forecast from Friday onwards, where we've got that slack weather pattern across the UK generating showers, but high pressure is expected towards the end of next week. But if we go back in time, previous computer model runs, you can see that that high pressure is always being pushed further away by a couple of days. So it just remains fairly elusive. So there is some uncertainty, and part of that is tied in to that storm Elsa, about when we're going to see the high pressure toppling in. But the main patterns come the end of next week. The most likely scenario is that the jet stream will be shifted further north, taking low pressure systems further north that will allow the Azores high pressure to move in across the country. And that should bring some drier and probably warmer weather come the back end of next week, but just impossible to say exactly when at this stage. And with low pressure up to the northwest, there will be at times some rain coming in here. Lots to think about then over the next few days. Keep up to date with the day-to-day detail, particularly on those heavy showers over the next 4 or 5 days. And the best way to do that, of course, download the app or follow us on social media.